Well, hey there, friends. Welcome to our BakeMate Home Bakery Bookkeeping Bootcamp. I'm Allison. I'm going to be guiding you through this training, and over the course of the next week, I'm going to help you learn how to take control of your home bakery finances. During this boot camp, you're going to learn everything you need to know about logging your expenses, tracking your income, and how you can use that information to get at a glance information about the health of your home bakery business. So I hope you're excited and ready to jump right in, because in today's lesson, we're going to learn how to set up our BakeMate spreadsheet. So let's just jump right over from this welcome tab that you see behind me to the next tab in your workbook that's called Setup. Now over here in the Setup tab is where we're going to tell the spreadsheet information about our business that it's going to use to do the formulas and calculations throughout the other tabs of the workbook. So you absolutely cannot skip this section, because you're going to need to tell it specific information about you. So let's take a little tour of this page, and then I'm going to give you a homework assignment for what you need to do to be able to set up your page for your business. So first and foremost, we are going to set a starting date. When do you want to begin tracking your income and expenses in this workbook? Now, you can start it where you're at now, or you can postpone it for a few days and start it at the beginning of the next upcoming month so that you have complete information for the month, whichever you prefer. If you'd like to practice a little before you dive in with your own business, then check the links below this video, because I've put together some sample data. And with that sample data, you can practice entering some expenses and some purchases and some, just numbers to play with. And that'll get you used to the BakeMate spreadsheet before you dive right in with real information. So either way, you can decide to start today, start at the beginning of the next full month, or create a copy and use some dummy data. So go ahead and enter your starting date for whichever date you decided to use. At the end of every calendar year, you're going to make a new copy of your BakeMate spreadsheet and start a new spreadsheet for each year. So one spreadsheet is good for one calendar year, and then you can archive your past years in your Google Drive or wherever you like to organize your spreadsheets. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the income category. What the income category is a list of how you make your sales. So as a home-based baker, how are you selling your stuff? Are you an occasional farmer's market sale with some online sales in between markets? That's what we're going to be recording here in the income category. So what I've put down are the categories that most home bakers make their sales through. So maybe you do a few pre-order sales. Maybe you have a few farmers market sales. Do you ever do pop-ups or vendor events? If so, you can record those sales there. You maybe have some online sales like a flash sale. And then perhaps you have a website where you make money. Now, why are we recording those different income sources? Because that detailed information is going to help you to see trends in your business. So once we get to our monthly overview or even our annual overview, you're going to be able to see, oh, wow, I'm making a lot more money at farmers markets than I am anywhere else. And those types of decisions are going to help you to run your bakery business just a little bit better. Now, if you don't do all of these different income streams, if you don't have all of those, it's completely fine. Don't let that pressure you into thinking you should have an income source from all of these. These are just all the ways that I could think of that bakers make their money. So if you'd like to just leave this the way it is and record your sales in those categories as you have them, you can. But if you have more information that you would like to track, then you can add it here. So imagine you are a baker who does farmers markets and you set up a booth, but you also have a food trailer, and your food trailer is available for hire to do weddings, corporate events, and things like that. You may decide to add in that income category the food trailer so you can specifically track the sales that came in through that. And all you're going to do is type it right in here so that you can begin to track those sales. So that's going to be your first homework assignment, is to think about those income categories and make a list of them. And if you like the way they are, then that is one thing that you can check off your list today. All right, let's jump over to our expense categories. Now, in this expense category column, you're going to see some terms that you might not have seen before and might not be familiar with. So I'm going to run through them briefly and share with you what type of expenses those are. But there's also a resource below this video that's going to have a printout of those definitions for you to reference again if you forget what I mentioned here in the video. So expenses are things that you spend in your business. You're buying supplies or bills that you have to pay. It's any money going out of your business. And these are the IRS categories that you are later going to use when you prepare your taxes, or when an accountant or a bookkeeper prepares your taxes for you. So if we start out with some good habits and we put our spending into these buckets now, it's going to make it so much easier when tax time comes around for you to know exactly how much you spent on office supplies, because we're setting up those habits now. So let's run through these expense categories, and these are going to be all the different ways that you might spend money in your business. So first and foremost is inventory, and this is anything that you spend to create the products that you're selling. So blueberries for your blueberry muffins, the packaging container that the muffins go in, the paper cupcake liners that you bake your muffins in, that is all part of inventory. It's what it takes for you to create your products. Next up is credit card fees. If you are accepting credit cards, like maybe you have Square for your business and you accept credit cards, you have some fees associated with that. And this is where you're going to log those fees for your credit card transactions. And don't worry, we're going to go through an entire lesson of practicing making these entries. Salaries are in there because most of you probably don't pay out any salaries, but if you ever did pay someone to help you maybe do some packaging before a big event, this is where you would record the money that you paid your friend or your family member to help you out in your business. Next up is marketing. And marketing is when you're spending money to promote your business. Your marketing expenses can be anything that you spend to promote your business. So things like getting flyers printed, business cards printed, things like that. Those are marketing expenses. Next up are professional services, and this could be anytime you spend money on a professional service to help you run your business. So if you pay a graphic designer to do your business card for you, then that's a professional service. This BakeMate Bootcamp, this is a professional service. So it's anything that you're getting help from someone to run your business. Next up are your travel expenses. And this is anything that you're spending to get to and from an event for your business, or to get to and from the grocery store to buy supplies for your business. So travel is where you would record the gas that you put in your car for business related purposes. It might include a meal if you're out at the market and you need to grab a bite to eat. That's a write-off, and you can put it in your travel expense category. If you have to get a hotel room overnight because you have a 2-day event, also a travel related expense. Next up, if you are a baker who is allowed to ship your baked goods, then your shipping fees would get logged as an expense under shipping fees. You would also record the supplies that you purchased to ship your goods under your shipping supplies. So the boxes, the bubble wrap, the packaging, the tape, all of that gets logged under shipping supplies. Office expenses are things that you need to use, things that you sort of use up in your business. So ink for your printer, labels for your baked goods. If you are using any supplies to run your business, then office supplies would be the category that you log that. Next up is multimedia. Multimedia are those expenses that you incur that you need to do to showcase your products. So if you have to buy props for photographing your baked goods, maybe you have some backdrops or some staging things to take your photographs, those would get logged under multimedia. Hosting fees are if you have any type of monthly expenses for a website or an email list or a Squarespace shop or a Shopify shop, any of those types of expenses you would log under hosting fees. Equipment is anything that you buy for your business that is going to help you to produce your products. So mixers, oven, hot pads, pot holders, spatulas, whisks, things like that. All of your supplies, sheet pans, everything that you need to do your job goes under supplies. And then finally, we're going to talk about your sales tax payments. And this is where you're going to record any sales tax that you're remitting to your state taxation agency. Everybody's a little bit different, but if you have to turn in your sales taxes monthly or quarterly, we're going to log it here. So those are the different ways that we spend money in our business. Next, we're going to take a look at the different ways that you take money or take payments from your customers. And this is one of the big strengths of the BakeMate calculator, because working with home-based bakers has given me this sort of snapshot of the way a lot of people do business. And from my experience, many of you are accepting multiple different types of payments. You accept cash and you accept Venmo. Some of you take Zelle or PayPal or Square. And up until now, you've probably been struggling with keeping track of those different accounts. And so BakeMate is going to help you to know at any given moment how much money is in each one of those accounts. And it's going to allow you to transfer those balances between accounts and keep track of it. So what we want to do here is tell the spreadsheet which accounts we're going to be using. Now, these you can completely customize. There's 10 different savings accounts, more than 10 different checking accounts. Do not feel like you need to have all of these, but I know that people have a lot of different ways to do their finances. So here is where we're going to talk about all of the different places that your money is right now. So first and foremost, you probably accept cash when you're out at an event. So you want to be able to record that customer paying you in cash. So the first one is going to be just simply cash payments. The next one is the name of your business checking account. So for me, I use Citibank. I love using Citibank. It's a great online bank. It doesn't have, I don't go to a physical location. I just transfer in and out of that account, and it is an online only bank. I'll also put a link to that below if you're thinking about opening an online bank, but you don't have to. You could use your local bank, a credit union, whatever it is. It needs to be an account that is specifically and solely for your business. It should not have any personal purchases on it. You're just going to be transferring out of that account when it's time to pay yourself. You're not actually buying anything for yourself out of that account. So whatever that account is called, give it a nickname right here. It could be, Bank of America business account, whatever you want to call it. Make sure that your nickname is something that you recognize so you know this is my business checking account. Next, you want to list all of the different ways that you accept payments. So do you take Zelle? Do you take PayPal? Do you take Square? Go ahead and list those there. If you have any other bank accounts that you want to be associated with your business, you can give these a nickname here, as well as savings account. And let's talk about that for a second. Why would you have a few more? Well, if you have your business checking account, mine's Citibank, and I like to set some money aside for tax time, then I'm going to take my some of my earnings each month and put them in a savings account. And that might be a business only savings account. I just want to make sure that I don't spend it. I want to set it aside. If you do something like that, then you might have a business savings account, and you can name that one whatever you want. Taxes only, something like that. Business savings. Anything that you want, you can nickname these accounts. Now, the next step is for you to track down what the current balance is as of this starting date. So if I'm going to start my spreadsheet on September 1st, then I want those cash balances to be where they are on September 1st. So that's why at the beginning of today's lesson, I talked about you might want to go through the boot camp with some sample data to practice it, and then make a new copy of BakeMate and have it be, this is the real thing, and this is when I start recording my finances as of the first of the next month, because the balances matter when you start. So however you want to go about it, all of the resources that I mentioned in today's training video are down below. The sample data, the definitions of the expense categories, and a little worksheet for you to help you do those few homework assignments that I mentioned. Now we have one more thing to talk about before we finish today's lesson, and that is sales tax. Are you living in a state that requires you to collect sales tax on the baked goods that you sell? Number one, you should know that. If you don't, you want to pause this process, go to the state agency that governs the cottage food laws in your state, and do a little bit of research about whether you're required to collect sales tax on the sale of your baked goods. Everybody's different. Some people it's a county thing, some people it's a city or a state thing. You're going to have to do a little bit of research, and hopefully you already know that. But if you don't, now is the time for you to go and find out that information. So what we want to do here is enter that tax rate. So where I live, I'm 8.5%. So I'm going to type in 8.5 in there. And what this is going to do is going to help you keep track of the sales tax that you've collected on your sales. So your job is to find out what your tax rate is, and you're going to enter it there. Okay, so that is the setup portion of this worksheet. And once we get through that and we set it up properly, it's going to do all of the heavy lifting for us on the other pages of the worksheet. So your assignment now is to download the information below this video, do the simple homework assignments that I've assigned, and I want you to mark this lesson as complete. You're going to have to take a little quiz so that I know you've got it, because it's so important that we start out on the right foot. Take the little quiz, and I will see you in the next lesson when we're ready to start the next step of the process. So again, nothing crazy here, nothing too difficult here. We're just taking it step by step, and progress is better than perfection, right? We're just taking baby steps here and working through the finances of our bakery business. I hope you're excited to master this concept. Check out the links below this video, and I can't wait to continue our boot camp over in the next lesson.